do this. I got my Starbucks on. Boom, baby, let's do this. Let's go on an adventure and stuff. Good morning, everybody. This is Jose Trujillo. I am the world's greatest living artist. I happen to be the world's. You silly goose. I happen to be the world's greatest living artist. And yeah, man, it's been awesome. I've been kicking some serious booty. Serious booty early in the morning. I feel like a pirate kicking some serious booty. What's happening? I'm like a Mexican pirate. I'm like Capitan Jack Sparrow and stuff. Oh, Joaquin Sparrow. What's happening, people? What's up, world's greatest living artist? Any IKEA updates? It was supposed to be on February that I got some updates. I got to reach out to the designer or the designer firm that was setting that up. I didn't set it up with IKEA, by the way. I went through a designer. That's how we did it. I went through a designer, and a designer that I work with that looks for this type of gigs. And yeah, so it's supposed to be something like that. I'm excited because IKEA has a lot of IKEAs, and then they sell a lot online. So I'm pretty excited. Not about the money necessarily, although the money's not bad. I'm not so much about the money. I'm excited about the footprint, marketing wise, which is like I said, at this point in my career, that matters to me much more than. I mean, I can't say I don't care about the money. Of course I do, but it matters much more to have footprint in the marketplace, because in the long term, that's more important. Yeah, absolutely. The way to connect with all those people is you have to get out there. You have to get out there a lot, and that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to connect with you. You do have to make an effort to talk to them, to connect with them. And I mean, it's just like everything else. It requires a lot of just being there. I wouldn't say a lot. I think that if you reach out to a designer maybe once a week, you're in pretty good hands if you do that. I used to reach out to people every day, and every day it's not very possible. If you're a full-time artist, it's not very possible that you're doing all of these things that I talk about every day. It's just it's bananas. There's no way, unless you have an entire team, right? I don't have an entire team to do it. I know I have assistants, but I don't have a marketing team. That is really my ultimate goal as an artist, is to have a marketing team, to have a very strong kick-ass marketing team. Have about, I would say, about 10, 15 people full-time online, and maybe a couple of them offline, driving around, looking for gallery spaces, looking for gigs. That would be, for me, I mean, that's how I picture it. That's how I picture this gig. I know some people are like, oh my God, why do you talk like that? Because I think it's very important. To me, I see this as a career, but as something that could really grow, and it could be very, very fruitful. I'm not afraid anymore. I'm not afraid of the money. The idea of a career like this, I see it. I personally see it as a $20 million a year gig, and I'm not anywhere near that, but I see it as that easily, a 20 mil yearly gig. Because I would be doing things differently than the majority of artists. Not every artist, but the majority of artists. There's some artists who are, I know Wyland, for example, the guy who painted the whales and the marine life, the big murals. I have heard a podcast with with one of my favorite marketers, Joe Polish, where he talked about that his business was earning over $100 million a year. So just think about that for a second, okay? You don't have to be like an uber famous artist. You don't have to be Jeff Koons or anything like that to make this thing work. And to what excites me the most is getting a team together. I've always wanted a team. I think doing this by yourself is very romantic and very nice, but you can only go so far. There's an African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go in company. You have to go in company if you want to go far. And so I don't want to go fast anymore. I've done it fast my entire career. The past 10 years, I've done it fast. It's like fast. Wow, come on, fast. Let's do this. And now I'm thinking about how can we go far? And for that, you need people. I need someone alone, just alone on Instagram. At least one person. It's probably more like two people, but at least one person on Instagram full time. And I'm not joking when I say at least two people full time, because there's so many things to do. There's little alliances you can do, like what people call what do they call it when they work together? Collaborations. There's collaborations. There is sending stuff to influencers. If you want influencers to pay attention to you, you're gonna have to give them something. You're gonna have to give them a good gift. Not everything is paid. Not everything is paid in cash. There's a lot that you can do with your artwork, which is many times more valuable than cash to many of the people out there. I know an artist in Australia. He talks about this. Richard Claremont, I think. His last name's Claremont. That dude, I have mad respect for that dude. That dude hustles too. He hustles hard. And he was talking about how he has people, not a curator, the person that hangs the paintings. He's like a very, very, he's known in Australia for hanging artwork, right? He knows how to hang artwork. Because that requires an eye too. That not everybody can hang artwork. So this guy, he's like the gallery preparer who hangs the artwork. That was Jeff Koons' first job, I think. Gallery preparer or museum preparer. Anyways, I don't want to divert. This guy paid him. I don't know if he still does, but he paid him with paintings, with a couple of large paintings or something like that. And the guy would fly out to him. Think about it. So if you have a painting that is worth, I don't know, a couple of $1,000 or so, why don't you give it to someone to help you? I'm working deals with people like that right now. Like, why don't I give someone a $4,000 painting and they can help me do something that I can't do by myself? Why don't I do that? Why don't I give someone a $4,000 painting? Why don't I give someone a $1,000 painting once a month to help me do something that I know I can't do by myself? And if I were to pay that person, it wouldn't be as meaningful for that person if I were to pay them, I don't know, $200, $300, $400, $500, because maybe they don't need the money. Maybe they just really like what I have, what I do, or maybe instead of paying them $200, $300, give them a $1,000 painting. That type of deal. Rosa, who says lives are the right place to start. So many connections here, though. Very cool. Thank you so much. Jay, you're the man, man. Thank you so much. What's happening? I have my friend here, Chanel. What's up, Chanel? How's it going, muchacha? We have Alicia. What's up, Alicia? Rosa says, how do you go about finding people, helping community? I don't know anyone. Okay, so the best way to do this is for me, right? The best way to do this right now is to go online. And then I start talking about, hey, who do you know in Tucson, Arizona? Who do you know in Arizona? Who do you know in the States first, right? Who do you know in the States? Who do you know? I have about 10 people that will say that they will come and work for free for me in my studio, as long as I teach them the business, as long as they're here with me. I teach them the business, and I sort of like what do you call them? What do you call these people? Interns, right? But these are grown people. I'm not talking about kids. I'm not talking about college kids. As long as I teach them the business of selling art, marketing art, and painting. Now, I haven't taken their initiative on that, or I haven't made an initiative on that because of COVID. Still, due to COVID, but I have brought people in my studio before who just want to learn. There is a. I'm going to tell you something, guys. There is a movement, a vibration, if you will, for those of you who are more airy-fairy, of how someone moves throughout their day that is running something, running a studio, marketing, whatever, as opposed to showing up to a job. There's a different vibration that's happening. I'm not saying that, oh my God, it's because they work so hard and blah, blah. That could be it, but there's a different vibration happening. The vibration that I've noticed is the changing gears. They know how to change in gears. That's one of the things. So I could be doing this right now, and then I can get like a hater on email or something and deal with that, or deal with a fire, not virtual, not a real fire, but like, hey, where's my painting? I've been waiting for my painting type of deal, you know? My painting arrived damaged. What do we do now? It's a $3,000 piece, or it's a $3,000 box, right? Because I ship out a lot of boxes that have multiple paintings, due to that I auction them on eBay and stuff like that, or people buy in bulk on Cherish, places like that. It's usually designers they buy, or resellers they buy in bulk. The $3,000 box arrived damaged. You know, how in the fuck are you going to deal with that? It's me to deal with that. I have to deal with that, right? I have to fix it. I have to not only fix it, I have to make them happy, even though it's not my fault, right? Let's say that it was the carrier, whatever. It doesn't matter. I take full responsibility. So there's a different change of gears that's happening, and that to me is most valuable than anything else, especially if you're trying to learn the business. One of the best things that I did is I had the opportunity to work with someone that was very, very wealthy. That was one of the best opportunities I had. And they were born into wealth, but they knew also they had a movement, a really beautiful movement. And I had the opportunity to work with them for a few months. And I had the opportunity to work with business owners, 10 million plus businesses. And that gave me a sense of a little bit, right? A sense of how these fuckers move. They move differently. There's a different movement that's happening, as opposed to when I've owned a shop before. I've owned shops online before painting and whatnot. There's a different way. I have the opportunity to also have a couple of brothers who are entrepreneurs. And I can see how there's a different movement. There's a different vibration that's happening. They operate just a little faster, and they're a little less scared. And not because they can pay for things. No, that's how they got to a point where they started paying for things. I'm still very scared. I still have a lot of fear around paying people and paying and investing and that type of deal. I see that a lot of those cats are maybe they're afraid, but they don't show it, right? They don't show it as much. I know I'm still going through some of those fears, if that makes any sense. What am I trying to say with this? Get together with someone, guys. It does, get together with someone. It doesn't have to be in the same industry. Someone who's much more ahead of you, so that you can learn how to. There's a march. There's a little vibration. They do things differently. They don't get caught up in things so much. They're dealing with someone on the phone. It's very quick. It's not like, oh, okay, well, no. It's very quick. It's subtle. You can, unless you're there, you won't catch it. Unless you're around them, you don't really catch it, because it looks like they're not really. Especially a lot of those people look like they're not really doing much. It looks that way, but. Man, I'm just telling you, for those of you who haven't had the opportunity to work with business owners or people who are I had the opportunity to work with someone who was in charge over 100 employees, and I could see, and 100 not employees like factory employees, like oh, okay, you do your job. No, 100 salespeople, right? People that had to also get out and move from their space. It was a very beautiful thing to see, for me, anyways. Let's see. Rosa says, I started painting as a hobby and suddenly found a passion in it, realized that art is not enough. Knowing the business part is difficult and definitely need to hustle, find someone. Yeah, the best thing that I've learned is finding a mentor. Now, not everybody can find a mentor because people are looking. Everybody can find a mentor, but not everybody really knows how to find it because they think that they have to go find the guru. That is not a mentor. Okay, so someone else or me or whatever doing videos on Instagram or YouTube, that's nice. But that's me playing it more like kind of I was like, hey, it'd be cool to do this, how's your day going type of deal. No, a mentor is someone who you can see the pace, and unless you're following me around, you're not going to be able to see my pace unless you some people started looking at what I'm doing in other places other than just Instagram, or how many times I post on Instagram, or that type of deal. It's not that I'm doing so much more than other people. In like, there's so many people that have many more, like a lot of following on Instagram or whatever. It's that my ass is sneaky. I'm all over the place. That's the difference. And I don't mind dropping things. Where people drop things, they're like, oh my God, I don't mind dropping things. Like Sachi they just emailed me because I dropped a couple of things there. And they're like, hey, I don't mind dropping things. I don't mind, as long as they don't break, I don't mind them dropping. I go and I pick them up again and I keep juggling them. And that is very important. That's something that took me some time to learn. A lot of people are very afraid of dropping things. They're like, oh my God, I didn't mark it yesterday. So fucking what? Move on, keep moving. I didn't use Instagram at all in 2 days. So what? Like, don't beat yourself up for it. Keep moving. Get into another platform. Get into another thing. I started using TikTok. I'm nearly, I think, I've been telling people, and TikTok is like so hot right now. It's ridiculous. Those of you who are not in TikTok or not using it persistently and consistently, you're playing with the whole thing. And like, you know how difficult it is to get followers on Instagram? Like, get people to follow you? On YouTube. You know why it's so difficult? You know why people are like, pushing so hard? I see you guys. Because I'm doing the same thing. You're pushing so hard. You're liking, you're commenting, you're running your ads. You're doing, and maybe if you hustle hard, you'll grow like 100 followers a day. Maybe if you hustle hard. It's very difficult. It's like pushing something uphill. That's what it feels like on Instagram. On TikTok, I grew I'm almost at 10,000 followers in less than 2 months. I started just posting consistently, persistently in about 2 months. Why? Because it's a new platform. New platforms, the algorithm favors you. The reason why it's so damn difficult to grow on YouTube, to grow on Instagram, on LinkedIn, try growing on Twitter. See how difficult that is. It's very difficult because they're very old platforms. And so people, the algorithm is not even there to favor you anymore. The algorithm is it's not even favoring the people who are paying, sadly. So, yeah. Let's see. I'm going to wave at people, man. What's up, Eric? How's it going? I got Eric right here. I got Roger. What's happening, Roger? What's up, Vivek? Patricia. Amber. Apprentice. I'm going back. That's why I'm like reading back. Reading backwards. So yeah, guys, that's the idea. I don't I'm not here trying to tell the people I own the truth. I'm just sharing the stuff that has been working for me. Not everything that I say, it's like, of course not. And probably I'd be lucky if 1% of the shit that I say actually means anything. But I'm trying to share things that work for me. No one's paying me to share things that work for me. The only place where I get paid to share things that work for me are like my workshops and things like that, coaching. But I do this because I realize how difficult it is. If you don't know how difficult it is to get attention to your product, to your brand, Jose is too humble, this stuff works. If you don't know how difficult it is to get attention, it's either I talked about this many times. It's either something that you will probably find out in the long run, or you're gonna find out very, very fast, and you're gonna sit and cry. And like, oh my God, how difficult this thing is. It just is. It is. But there's a very simple way of doing it. Even though the job is we have a gargantuan job, guys, as marketers, as artists, to get attention to us. I've noticed this over the years. You sell your work in proportion to how much you're out there. Not how much you're out there on Instagram, not how much you're out there on LinkedIn, or how much you're out there on YouTube, or no, how much you're out there, period, on all of it combined. And so this is something that I've come to understand, that if you're not out there, if you're not putting yourself out there, like, forget about it. There's just no chance. You're going to keep doing it as a hobby, and that's fine. But it can't turn into a career unless you're really out there. And you have to be out there in a way that is different than what you're used to. What's happening, Amelia? You have to get out there in a way that is different. Okay? That is very different than those around you, and different than what you're used to. What do I mean by this? When you post something on Instagram, you should take the same 1, 5, 10 minutes, whatever it takes you. Okay? Sit there, stand there, and tell yourself, I'm going to do this for 10 minutes. Post something on Instagram and go and post in every single fucking social media platform available to you. And if it's not available to you, make it available to you. If you post something on Instagram, go and post something on Facebook. Go post something on LinkedIn. Post something on Twitter. Go post something on TikTok. Like, I'm telling you guys, if you play with this thing, it's very difficult. And that's just online easy, because that's easy. That's easy. What's more difficult is you start DMing people, right? You start liking and commenting. It takes more time. You start engaging in conversations with people. You start doing lives like this. I'd rather do this lives, right, than not. Even though people are always telling me, dude, there's only so few people that show up to your lives. Yeah, but I mean, if you look at it like that, you're not gonna do anything. I'm not gonna make a live until I get hundreds of people, until I have a stadium of people looking at me. Of course not. Of course not. Besides, I believe in the compound effect. I've operated on compound. My entire career has been a compound effect. When I first started, I'm not doing anything much different. I didn't split myself into 2 people. I'm not, or 10 people. No. When I started, I was earning something, and 10 years later, I'm earning 10 times more than when I started. Why? Because of compound. It's not that I'm doing 10 times more. I'm actually painting less. I've been telling people this whole time that I've been painting way less than what I used to. I used to paint a lot. I've been painting way less. It's not that I'm doing so much more. It's that there's a compound effect, and it happens over years. How's it going, Marina? And I'm a fan of that. Even though that's a slow burn, I'll take that any day than than feeling exhausted and burnt out and, oh, this is not going to work. No. When I feel like this is just so much, man, like I've marketed and I haven't sold anything on this platform or this, it's just, oh, you have those days where you're like, fuck this, man. Like, why am I even doing this? Or I'm painting and I'm showing my work, and then I have the trolls, right? I get trolls all the time. I don't know about you guys, but I get trolled. I get trolled the shit out of me. Whether it's on Facebook or it's on YouTube or even on Instagram. Instagram's such a beautiful, clean platform. And I say clean because most people really, like 99.9% of people are super nice. And if they have nothing nice to say, if they have something bad to say, they won't say it. Because it's Instagram. I don't know. If you say something stupid, you look like a butt and people start rejecting you. Whereas I think it's being a part of being anonymous in other platforms where people can hide their face and kind of troll. And so I do have those days where I get just everything seems like it's just falling on me. And I think everybody has those days. And in those moments, what I rely on, I go back, right, to my long term. Oh, this is a compound effect. This is going to compound. And because I have history, right? I can look at the past and I can realize, holy shit, when I first started, I was doing this and I was earning this and I was working way more harder, faster. I was like on it, I was like a racehorse. And now I feel so much more calm. I feel like, like I found a pace sort of thing. And this is the result of the compound effect. This is the result of your marketing, boom, boom, boom. You're talking to 10 people every single day, 2-3 times a day on Instagram, on lives, right? That creates a compound effect of something. You're sending postcards. I send postcards. I do snail mail. I bet you 99% of people watching this probably don't do snail mail. I never talk about snail mail. I do a shitload of snail mail. I send out handwritten notes, cards, letters, postcards, because that's another form of communication. I make phone calls. I make at least 20 phone calls a day. People don't know that about me. I don't talk about it. To key people that I'm looking for, right? At least 20 phone calls a day. Either it's to think a patron, or to look for a patron, or to look for a space to put my work in. You say you're not a mentor, but I learned so much from you. Thank you so much, Ember. What's up, Sarah? How's it going? Sarah Cassidy, fine art. I'm a horse still in the barn, but working to breaking out. Very cool, Jay. And so there's not one way of doing this, but what I do know is that it's a lot of work, and what isn't, right? What isn't? I don't care if you're writing a blog and you're trying to get known for your blog. It's a shitload of work. I've met bloggers who are just, it's 24/7, right? It's 24/7. And until you start compounding that, it starts working for you in a different way. It might not, you might not experience you might, who knows, right? I think after a few years is where you experience it. Like, for example, when I started selling my work and I went from making a couple of $1,000 a month to $14,000 a month, I broke over the 100K, the 6 figures, right, a year. This was about 10 years ago. When I broke that, people that knew me, they were saying, oh, you just got lucky, dude. It's because you got lucky. People that knew me, artists that knew me, family members, they're like, oh, bastard, you just got lucky. You just got lucky. I got the whole you got lucky everywhere. I even believed it. I was like, holy shit, I think I got lucky. And then you take a step back and you're like, wait a minute. I've been looking how to monetize for such a long time. I've been looking how to sell my artwork. When I met my wife, our date nights where she was helping me mail out the portfolios to galleries, put the CD-ROM in there, or put the little what do they call them? The bio, the curriculum vitae, the CV, and all of that. And I mean, it was, each thing cost me about $15. I would spend all my money on that. I was a musician. I would get all the money from the music that I made, very little, and I would spend it all on that. We used to joke around. My wife used to joke around with me because I didn't even have a cell phone. I would call her from a payphone. That was, I mean, and people had cell phones already. My wife had, she had a nice cell phone. Her dad took care, took well care of her. And so she had the nicest cell phone, and I was like, oh shit, I don't even have a cell phone. What am I doing? I was spending everything on trying to get the attention of galleries, trying to get the attention of resellers, trying to get the attention of, going to the art fairs. Each booth in an art fair was $2,000-3,000. Anything that was worthwhile. Right, anything that I could, and then I would sell some artwork, and I would take that artwork and reinvest it and try to find out what I was doing wrong. Because in the beginning, you're doing this, you're poking everywhere, you're trying to find out what sticks. You're getting spaghetti and throwing it on the wall. That's I know that. If you're doing this at the beginning, I know that's what you're doing. I did it, and everyone that I knew that this shit is working now for them, that's what they were doing, because that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to find out what works. It's not going to be this little clear path that you start doing it and all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, I know what to do now. No, if you feel that way, watch out. You're going to know what to do now for like 1 or 2 months, and then you're going to have to pivot. And if you don't know how to pivot, you won't know what to do with yourself. You're going to be like, oh my God, what happened? This was working so well. Yeah, it was working so well till it didn't. Because we get convinced of a linear single path. And that's not how this thing is. This thing is going around, loops, going back. Sometimes it feels like you go back. And then, So anyways, what I was trying to say here is that in the beginning, I seemed to get lucky. And everybody was like, oh, you got lucky. But it's not true. It's that you experience, after a few years of doing something, the compound effect creates a certain gas, a certain explosion that gets you to do a hyper jump. If this makes any sense. I am pretty sure that I'm going to experience a hyper jump any moment, any time now. It might be 1, it might be 2 years, I don't know, it might be less, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to experience a hyper jump, because every so often I've experienced one. When you're doing something, you're doing it for about 10 years or so, boom, you experience a hyper jump. Because it's a compound. All of a sudden everything comes together, and it looks like you got lucky, but you didn't get lucky. You've compounded 10 years of hitting something. It's like hitting a wall. You keep hitting this fucking wall. You hit it, and all of a sudden one hit knocks the whole wall down. That's the compound. It knocks the whole wall down. And it looks like, oh my God, you got so lucky. One punch and the whole wall, came down. That's not what happened. No one counted the other 10,000 punches. No one counted there. They only saw the last one. And so sometimes when I post stuff and people are like, oh my God, Jose gets, I get messages from artists. They're like, man, you post something online and you get a lot of messages, or how is it that you get commissions every single day? Every single day I get multiple commissions. How did that happen? Well, in the beginning I wasn't getting even one commission, right? It was compounded. It was one after another. What I'm trying to say here is, if you feel like this shit doesn't work, you're wrong. If you feel like this shit doesn't work for you, you're wrong. You just haven't been long enough in it to see the hyper jump, or to see the curve. It's curving up. You haven't seen it. It's trending up. It's not curving like concave. It's trending up for you. But you can't see it because it's so gradual. When you least expect it, you're going to experience this. You're going to go like this, like this, like this. When you least expect it, it's going to go boom. And then it's going to stay like that for another while. It could, depending on your ambitions, depending on your it takes time. It just does. It takes time. It's like Kevin Hart or all those comedians or the people that are in Hollywood or whatever. They always talk about this shit. They're like, people say that I came out of nowhere. They're like, I've been doing this for 30 years. It's just that they hadn't experienced a hyper jump yet. People do something 10, 20, 30 years, and all of a sudden, boom, they hit a hyper jump. The things just line up. It's an exponential growth. Exponential growth happen right in the beginning of something. It looks like the beginning of something, right? But no one can see everything you did to get there. It's like that little iceberg. So everybody else looks at it like, oh my God, they just got onto this platform and they're kicking ass. Well, you don't see that they tried 10 or 20 different other platforms, and that they paid their dues, and now it looks like they're getting lucky. There is no luck to it. I was watching this YouTuber, and I was like, man, I feel like I've been harder on this thing than this people and that. And I was looking at it, right? You compare yourself to other people. That's how you try to gauge yourself. Even though the better part of you says don't do that, another part of you is like, well, you want to know where you're at, so you keep leveling yourself with other people. And I saw this YouTuber, and the dude was like, oh yeah, I have my YouTube channel for over 10 years. And I was like, oh, no shit, right? And it just makes so much sense why people are experiencing certain things. It makes so much sense. I have my YouTube channel, blah, 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 for so much time. Or I see some people that all of a sudden they post something and they get like 5,000 views on YouTube, on their YouTube channel. And I'm like, shit, man, how come I don't get that, man? I have to, like, my videos are like shitty. Like, I post something and they get no views until like a year later, like, oh my God, I got some views. But then I look at the compound again, right? The compound effect on my YouTube channel, and I'm like, oh my God, I got nearly 3 million views. Why am I getting upset about this thing not working or that thing not working? I look at someone else, they look like they post a video, they get like 5,000 views, but then I look at their actual overall views, and they have like 100,000 views. Compared to my 3 million views or whatever. What I'm trying to say is that there is time behind everything. There's energy behind everything. And sometimes we can't see it. And you have to take a step back and realize that wherever you're standing, you're good. Just keep moving. Just keep moving. Jay says the athlete with the best batting average also has the highest strikeout average. Absolutely. Absolutely. There's so many bad paintings I've done. Like horrible paintings. And I look back and I'm like, oh my God. But you know what? It's just me saying that. The buyer is not saying that. That's just me because I'm fighting with my own standards. But the buyer's not saying that. The buyer buys something that I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I painted that. And they buy it and they're like, this is like a gift from heaven. Oh my God, I'm so happy I found you. And I'm like, those are my own judgments that work against me, because you don't need to do that to yourself. But we do it from time to time. So anyways, my friends, I'm here in my studio. I got my coffee on. I'm ready. Hopefully you guys are ready too. Hopefully you guys are getting your day started.
Good morning.
Morning. And go for it. Go for it, whatever that means for you. Here, let me put this phone right here so that we can keep chatting. I got my backpack. I'm gonna read right now. I'm gonna read the comments, guys, because I need to be in touch with what you guys are thinking. Please do comment. I want to read the comments. Don't let me just talk, because that way I can have an insight on what you're going through, and maybe I can say something. I can help a little bit. Who knows? I don't have all the answers. But maybe I do have an answer. Let's see. So I stayed late, right? I stayed late yesterday, a little bit late. And look what I was doing. I was working on some acrylic little drawings. Check it out. I stayed a little late. Let me read those comments. Post your comments, guys, because I'm going to start reading them right now. Post your comments. If you have a question right now regarding your career, or if you feel like I can help you with something, you're trying to get a studio, or you're trying to sell commissions, whatever. I don't know everything, but if I'm answering something, it's because I feel an authority on the subject. I feel like I have authority on the subject if I answer it. If I answer it with any type of knowledge. Let's see. Here we go. Elaine says, I need to hear this. Been lucky to have gained a few sales this week. You're so inspiring for me to carry on, as I feel it's too. Very cool. Marina says, this was the best morning inspiration ever. Very cool, Marina. Thank you. They put on a heater, man, because it's cold. It's cold here in my studio. I don't have central heating, so we have little heaters all over the place, which is pretty good. Let's see. Elaine says, it's 2 steps backwards, 1 step forward. Absolutely. It always looks that way. It always looks that way. You know, the thing is that we stop. That's the problem. You know, you're marketing, you're doing your thing. I know everybody does this. Everybody does this. Why do I know this? Because I've been coached by some kick-ass people, and they have done it too. They've told me. They told me, Jose, everybody does that. Everybody moves 2 steps forward and 4 back. Everybody does that. You go, you market, you start punching, and then you get tired, and then you contract. And then you start licking your wounds. Everybody does this. You know, you go and you get excited one day, and then you feel like, maybe I overworked. Oh my God, maybe I overworked. Or maybe if you're commenting and liking, your hand starts hurting, you start feeling like, I might get carpal tunnel. Oh my God. Like, everybody contracts. Everybody does that. Everyone does it. I haven't met someone who doesn't do it. And it's normal. It's normal. It's your fear. It's your fear. This is something that happens to me. I market my commissions. All of a sudden I get flooded. In 1 month, I'll get like 40 commissions. Like that's what happens to me now. In 1 month, I get like 40 commissions. I get flooded. Some of them are $400 commissions. Some of them are $2,000, $3,000. Some of them are $7,000 commissions. From time to time, I land those and I get flooded. And all of a sudden, I tell my wife, I need like a week of rest, right? I'm like, because I'm afraid of the compromise. Not compromise. This is a Spanish word I'm trying to translate. I'm afraid that is the step, that is the vibration that I need to work on, and I get afraid. I still do. You know, I start getting a lot of jobs, and I pull back. I stop talking about them. I don't know if you guys have seen, I stopped talking about it. This happened to me also with teaching workshops or whatnot. I started getting flooded with questions, and I stopped talking about it. I go back, and then I move forward, and then I go back, and then it's just normal. It's normal. It's part of not having the condition. You know, it's part of not having the condition. That's what runners do. They run, and then at least the ones that I know, I have a couple of friends who are professional runners. They run, and then the body has to heal, right? The body has to heal until they become conditioned to run a little bit more. It's kind of like weightlifters. They get conditioned. Rosal says, thank you so much for sharing. I needed to hear this. Where do you post the drawings? I post the drawings everywhere. On eBay, on Etsy, on Saatchi Art. I don't, because Saatchi Art I try to post stuff that I'm going to sell for more. And so those drawings are sort of trying to get people to start owning my work. A lot of people, they're like, oh man, I wish I could own some of your work. So I post something like that for about $200. And then people have a way to own my work, and so it gets them started into, right? Because what happens when someone owns your work? This is another thing. A lot of people out there don't think about this shit, man. What happens when someone owns your work? You thought about that? Someone actually, not somebody sees your work and, oh, that's not, no, somebody owns your work. Just think about this for a second. They own it. It's very different, guys. I keep telling people this, man, but it just, it's so hard sometimes to because you have to experience it. See, there's a lot of people out there who are like, oh, I do my paintings, but if you want to own it, it's going to cost you, it's going to cost you. And so most people look at it kind of like looking at a Rolls Royce or something, a Bentley through the window. Like, oh yeah, that's nice. Oh, it'd be so nice. That's great. I get it. But when somebody owns your work, it's very different. It's very different than hustling and huffing and puffing online. No, they own your work. Every single day, they're looking at it once. Okay, number one. Every single day, that person who bought it is looking at it, which means it's being absorbed by osmosis into their little soul. It's been absorbed. Every single day they walk past, it becomes part of them. You know how people cry when something breaks? Imagine if that painting gets stolen or broken or something. I've gotten people cry sobbing in the fires in California because they had their entire collection burnt. Sobbing. People sobbing. Not just, of course they're sobbing, but not just sobbing at the fact that, of course, they impact the emotional and whatnot, but specifically about the artwork. They would just keep crying about the artwork. And because it's such an emotional attachment. It's their work. It belongs to them. It's something that they had, they have with them. It goes beyond buying a chair or, it's very nice if you buy a chair or whatnot, or even your car. But something that you look at consistently and persistently in your peripheral at home. That's number one. You're walking by the kitchen, boom, the artwork is there. The artwork is there. So that's the first thing. The second thing, every time someone walks into their home, they start yapping about it. Right? They have dinner, they have lunch, whatever, they start yapping about it. They're like, oh, have you seen my painting? Oh, that's a really nice painting. Who did it? Oh, let me tell you about it. This artist, I saw on eBay or I saw on Instagram. His name's Jose Trujillo, blah, blah, blah. They keep talking about it. Number three, still one of the most important ones. It gets passed down, whether it gets resold. Let's say the person passes or whatever, the painting gets resold. That happens a lot to my work right now because I painted so many pieces. And it gets passed down to other generations. You're talking about something. It's not a. I keep saying this because I learned this from Picasso. It's not a fucking like or share button, guys. You got to get people to own your work. It's not a like and share button. That means shit. It's very little. It's got very, very little meaning. When someone's like, I like your painting, and then they share it. I'm good for great, because I'm trying to get my name out there. That's great. But when someone has the painting, it's 10x. It's completely different than anything else. So I could rant about this forever. Let's see. Amber says, how do you limit your online time with using every platform? I'm already online a lot. You got to watch my video if you haven't watched it. My video on my workshop on time, utilizing time. I think you spoke about this, Amber. I don't know if it was you who said something about a mentor talking about a wheel. Yeah, use the wheel. Use the wheel. It's very simple. It's going to require discipline because then you're going to be tempted on staying 3 hours on any given task. That's not going to work. You can't be 3 hours on tweeting, or it's not going to work. Not going to work. It's there's so many things to do that if you spend so much time in one thing, all you're going to do is you're going to start feeling this highs and lows. You're going to be like, oh, if I tweet more, if I'm on Instagram more, you're going to experience a high and then it's going to hit you with a low because nothing happened. It's like going to the gym and being like, if I just pump five more hours. No, it's not about pumping 5 more hours, right? It's probably about pumping, I don't know, 5 years in a row, right? 5 years, 5 months, 5 years in a row, and keep pumping. It's not about how much more you can do in a day. It's about how it's longitude, right? It's you have to think. This is why I don't have a problem doing posting something on LinkedIn and something on Twitter, and then just moving on. Just keep moving on. I don't have a problem with that because I'm not trying to get the sale right away. I understand. I've been doing this long enough to understand that the sale doesn't work that way. The sale ends up happening because you psychologically beat the resistance of your prospect into submission. Psychologically, you've beaten the resistance of your prospect. I know it sounds a little harsh, but that's what happens. Why? Because I know people that share stuff online and they go and they do it really hard and really fast and they're there and they get excited for a week and then they stop. Remember what I was talking about earlier? They stop, but they don't just stop for 1 or 2 days. They stop. They completely stop for like, I don't know, 2 weeks or a month or something. And they're like, oh man, what did I stop that? I should have kept doing that. And then they go back again. And so they keep doing this. I talked a lot about these peaks and valleys. That shit's not going to work. It'll work in the long term, in the long run. Okay, in the long run, if you keep doing that, as long as you stay with it, it'll work. But it's a lot harder, right? It's a lot better if you do one little thing consistently. What most of us get upset with is that we wish we could do more. And so like, oh my God, if I just had someone doing this and we're not thinking long term. It's like what Tony Robbins says, we overestimate what we can do in a year and underestimate what we can do in 10. Most people are not thinking about 10 years. It's a big fucking mistake. I keep talking about this all the time. Your career should not be a 1-year thing. If it's a 1-year leap, I promise you, it's going to turn into 30 years. You should be thinking about, because you're going to do it and then stop, and then do it and stop. It's going to turn into like this. I know some people have been doing it their whole life and still haven't broken through, and it's because they keep stopping. They're like, oh, I stopped for 5 years, and then I went back at it again, and then I got divorced, and then I stopped for another time, and but I've been an artist my whole life. Yeah, dude, but you can't stop. Even if you're doing very little, just keep doing it. Let's see. Guys, if you guys have any questions, please keep hitting me with those because I'm starting to read them right now. Hey, Jose, I've been trying, Trina says, hey, Jose, I've been trying to push my art, but no luck yet. I do Facebook and IG and been running sales and pushing new products, but my followers don't seem to like it. No engagement. Thoughts? Okay. So here is I haven't seen your work, Trina, but I'm going to tell you something. I've seen this happen a lot with artists. I call this dialing in the work. Guys, I must say this. The salvation, if you're an artist, I assume none of you are conceptual artists. Maybe some of you are, who knows. I assume you're figurative painters or abstract painters. You're not doing like conceptual stuff. You're not trying to get in MoMA or something like that. Maybe you are, who knows. But you're doing figurative work, some sort of impressionistic or expressionistic work or abstract work or something like that. The salvation is in the work, guys. I can't say this enough. The work itself is not going to get you to get noticed and famous and whatnot. The work itself can't do that, right? The artwork, you have to work. But if the work is not dialed in, it's very difficult. I know two artists, I'm thinking right now, that are having such a hard time. One of them has coached with me, has done the one-on-one coaching several times, and I keep telling him, and he just doesn't fucking listen. I keep telling him, dude, spend more time on the painting. And he thinks he's going to market himself out of this. He's not going to market himself out of this because he's not a conceptual artist. He would if he was trying to get into MoMA or something. He was trying to do, he's trying to get into the artsy-fartsy, airy-fairy, avant-garde movements. And even then, he wouldn't because he hasn't dialed that in. You need to dial that in. What I mean by this is you need to be fast and you need to be, furious, fast and furious with your work, but don't be sloppy with it. Take some time with the work. Dial it in. When I say you need to be fast and you need to, kick some ass, I'm talking about the marketing. Don't do that with the work. Take your time with the work. Take your time, even if you're doing it fast like me. Take your time with it. Look at my brush strokes. Take your time with it. Take your time. Put some oomph into it. Take time with it. And the reason why is because the artwork is your marketing is the wheel, right? Your marketing is the wheel. You keep spinning that, but it's got no grit. This may be happening. I don't know this, Trina, but this may be happening. Once you dial in the artwork becomes the grit. And now when you spin the tire, the automobile actually moves forward. It can't move forward if it doesn't have grit. If the tire doesn't have that rubber, if it doesn't have the grit, it can't move forward. You'll just spin your wheels. And I can tell you, I know this a couple of artists who I know they can do a better job. They're not doing it because they're trying to get in front of the marketplace. They're like, I need to get in front. It doesn't work like that. The work needs to be good. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be the best work. It has to be your best work, but not the best work. And then once you dial that in, you're like, man, this is a good painting. Move forward with the marketing. I hope that makes any sense. Commitment. There you go. Thank you so much. Compromiso, commitment. Yeah. The painting becomes a part of us. Yes, that's me. My mentor talked about the wheel. There you go. I do try to post. Who's your mentor, Amber? If you don't mind me asking. I'd like to know who that mentor is. Maybe I know them. I do try to post at least every other day on my feed and at least 3 times on my stories. There you go. That's good advice, says Harvey Arthur. Elaine says, I'm nearly 60. I haven't got time to wait. I love that. Marina says, I won't ever stop. Yeah, and won't ever stop. Please understand, you don't have to kill yourself, gut yourself out. No, just one little thing. I'm going to post this, but I'm just not going to stop. I'm just not going to stop. Sometimes we get excited. This is a message for those of you who are like me. I've always been intense. Since I was a kid, I'm like this fucking intense kid. I'm like, I always get intense. And so when something is working, I get intense about it. And I'm like, it's it's that fucking ADHD that people talk about. I've never been diagnosed with that, but I'm pretty sure that shit's there. So when something starts working for me, like my eyes become like those movies where like the reptiles or the dinosaurs are like, that's how I get. I'm like, that shit's working. All right. And so I get super intense about it. And what happens is that when you get intense about something, you get excited, you start burning it out. You wear yourself out. That has happened a lot to me. My entire life. Something starts working, I wear myself out. I just consume myself. I'm like, I'm going to do this. And I'm going to do this all day, 24/7. And it's not a plan. It's not how it works. It's not a long-term plan, so it doesn't last. I'm sorry if I can't pronounce the name correctly. Okay, I apologize for that. Says, you're a really big inspiration to me. Hope you're having a nice day. Thank you so much. I am. Trina says, I'll think about that. So is that perhaps implying the work needs to be better? But better not to my standards or someone else's standards, or no, better to the people that you're trying to show it to. Okay, the people you're trying to show it to. Sometimes your work can be good, but you're not showing it to the people who like that work, who are paying attention to that work. So, for example, I knew an artist who was doing some really cool stuff, sort of like dark stuff, kind of like Goya stuff, and he kept showing it in all these places where people liked happy little flowers and happy little trees, and I didn't nudge him. He did it on his own. He started looking for the crowd that liked that. It's sort of like if you're a hip hop artist and you're trying to convince, I don't know, old school country, people that listen to old school country music, like, hey, listen to me. They might, but chances are it's not there, Chances are it's not there. And so dial it in, not just in the work. It's very important to dial it in the work, but dial it in the audience. Who's listening to you? Who's paying attention? That's very important. It just needs to get dialed in. And for that, you need to poke in different places till you start finding out where it's dialing in. Yeah, there you go. Dial towards a specific market better. Thanks for the insight, Jose. I'm 60 also. My God, you're also young. Why do you keep telling me you're 60? Like, no, you're also young. I'm just telling you. My oldest sibling is nearly 60. I think he's 60. He's 59 or 60. My oldest sibling. And the dude behaves like he's 30. What online portfolio do you suggest? Online portfolio? Like to show your work? Or online platform to sell your work? Your coffee got cold? It sure did. It really did. My mentor is Jamie Stang Ellis. Okay. I do not know that person. Okay, that makes sense. I think you're hitting the nail on the head there. About not painting towards the right market in this case, my work kind of all over the place, a variety of styles and mediums. That's fine though too, but those of you who are starting out with painting, I don't know if you're starting out with painting, Trina, or maybe you've been painting for a long time, spend a little bit more time on your painting. Watch the difference. I know people don't believe me on this, but if someone out there is listening, believe me, spend a little bit. If you're watching me and you're like, oh my God, this is not just people that are watching me. When people start, when people are barely starting to paint, they have usually one problem. It's the same problem. When they're barely starting to paint, maybe you've been an artist and you've been doing different stuff, but barely starting to paint oils or barely starting to paint acrylics or something, everybody has the same problem. You're trying to make the painting too fast. It's the same problem. Everybody has that same problem. Too fast. When you've been at it for a while, you're taking way too long now for the painting. It's never somewhere in the middle. And when you start turning into a pro, you don't do it too fast or too slow. You find your pace. You start finding your pace. But in the beginning, most people's problem is they do it too fast. They're trying to do the painting in 3 brushstrokes. And they're like, and some people say, well, Jose, you're one to talk, you do what I do is a result of over 20 years of painting. I didn't just start. A lot of people just started painting and they're painting too fast. And so the paintings, you might like them, but the paintings might be sloppy and you haven't dialed it in. Once you dialed it in, with painting just taking a little bit more time to paint it, watch how it's going to change. When people don't know your name, okay, let's say you're not famous, people don't know your name, they only admire one thing. They don't even admire, oh my God, it's such a beautiful painting. No, the person worked on the painting. That's the number one thing they're thinking about. When they don't know you, they're thinking that the person worked on the painting. If they don't think you worked on the painting, you better be a conceptual artist doing something else. It's very difficult to make it as a figurative painter or abstract or impressionist or expressionist painter if you don't work on the painting. It's just very difficult. It's very difficult. What do I mean by that? Like, check this out. This is pretty conceptual. Like, not conceptual, it's expressionist. Okay? This is minimalist stuff. This stuff, I'm not trying to get people to be like, oh my God, Jose, such great painting. No, that is to dial it in to a certain crowd. Okay, I'm not gonna be putting those on Facebook and hoping to get likes. That's not what I'm doing with that. That I'm dialing in. I sell it to people who like interior decor, people who like that type of imagery. That's a specific buyer. If I put it on Facebook, I won't get likes. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna get like laughing faces. I'm gonna get, oh, I thought you knew how to paint, you suck, that type of stuff. Because that's more on the abstract expressionist, tapping into the conceptual stuff. But that's for a specific buyer. That's not for the average Facebook user. Let's see. Amber says, have you ever let your customers price your work? Like, ask them what it's worth them to, not an auction though. Yeah, I have. I've done that with commissions. And the reason I did that with commissions is because I was looking for earlier in my career, most of my energy was spent on looking for cash flow strategies. Like the auction. The auction is a cash flow strategy, right? It gives me small increments. The auction goes for $100 or $300. It's small increments, but it's a bunch of them in one day. That's a cash flow. I would love to, but I'm not trying to get $3,000 out of it, right? If I want $3,000 out of that painting, I should put it on a gallery and wait till I get the right person to see it or an exhibit or whatever. But that's not what I'm trying to do there. It's a cash flow. So I've done it with commissions. So for example, I told people, hey, I'm going to do a commission for a 16 by 20 oil on canvas. Name your price. That I did it for a reason. I was trying to see what was the average price that people were willing to pay for that without knowing me, without thinking I was the shit, and that I could create a cash flow. Right? Because I was looking for another cash flow. That, when I started doing that, like right away, the first month I made over 10K. And so I look for those type of cash flows that can give me 6 figures a year. And so it turned into a cash flow right away. I amped the price up now. It was like, hey, pay me whatever you want. Because I wanted to find out. So I take a punch to find out. Have you guys ever seen that movie Sherlock Holmes? When he took a hook on his body to try to get the little red book? I do that shit all the time. I take a beating. I get my ass kicked. I've done it with auctions. Those of you who haven't gotten your ass kicked on auctions, you don't know what awaits you. You're going to get your ass kicked on auctions. Just wait. It just happens. It's a normal part of it. I get my ass kicked. I got my ass kicked on coaching. I started coaching free. I was like, hey, I'll help you. Call me. Let's do this. 30 minutes, 30 free minutes, 15 free minutes, whatever, like IKEA, right? But then you get flooded, and so I get my ass kicked. Why? Because now I'm not doing the things that actually pay me. I'm there now picking up the phone, coaching people for free. And so it's to dial it in. I do that to dial it in, to find the red book, to find that little red book, like in the Sherlock Holmes movie. I look for the little red book. And so now the commissions they were name your price. I call them name your price commissions. And then they turn into $250 commissions. Right now the commission is $400 if you want a 16 by 20. And I run a special on that because, like I said, when I get flooded with them, I stop talking about it. And I don't even take them anymore because I get flooded with them when I start marketing them. How do you find the audience? You have to go and start talking to people, like what I'm doing right now, right? Make a live, you start talking. This is a little audience, right? This is a small audience. This is how you find it. If the people are following you and you're not engaging with them, they're not your audience. They're not your audience. I see a lot of people that have thousands of likes and comments, but then the artist doesn't engage with them. Like if the artist is some fucking kind of rock star, they won't engage with people. I know a couple of people. I can think of at least 4 artists right now on Instagram that do that. They have like over 100,000 followers. People rant and rave about their work and they don't engage with them. I know in my heart of hearts, I know that they're either going to lose that audience if they don't engage with them, or that audience sooner or later starts getting tired. Because when you present something, right? When you present something and you walk away, that wasn't a presentation. That was a fucking billboard. You have to present and stay there and talk to people. You have to talk to people because otherwise there's no connection. There's no true connection. This is one of the reasons I keep doing lives. I keep connecting. I send you voice messages. Those of you who know me, I send voice messages. I'm always connecting with people because it is much more powerful. I have like 200,000 emails in my email list. It's worth nothing because I didn't connect with them. I'm starting all over from the bottom, connecting with people. They won't even open the emails. They won't even engage with me because I made that mistake. That's why I said in my heart of hearts, I know what happens. When I first started selling, oh my God, I got flooded, right? I got flooded with like questions and whatnot, and I created a huge email list. And then my silly ass didn't connect with them. I thought I was a shit. I was like, oh yeah, I'm doing so great. I'm selling a lot of artwork. I don't need them. Yeah, okay. Elaine says, there's always going to be someone to like our work. I think that's what you meant, right? But if you don't produce work, you have nothing to market and collectors have nothing to buy. Absolutely, you need to produce. Rosa says, yes, to show your work. Man, I have all this. I feel like I'm burping, and what is it? Is it the coffee? I'm like, no, it's not the coffee. It's just my silly butt. Marina says, Jose, what if someone doesn't have a distinguished style? Like, I like many mediums and styles. Does that in any way harm the potential growth? No, it doesn't. You don't need a singular style. What I mean dial in is that people start liking what you're producing. You got to get people to like what you're producing. So I know this artist who keeps putting stuff and people don't comment or like on it. They just don't like and comment. Nothing. Like, I'm not even talking about like one little comment. Nothing. And this person has coached with me, and I keep telling this person, dude, go back, produce the work a little better. You got to produce the work a little better. Like, you got to start with the work. There's a lot of very smart marketers out there that tell you it's all marketing. No, it's not. Start with the work. You're an artist. If you're a plumber and your plumbing sucks, you're not gonna grow that business. You know, if you're a real estate agent and you can't listen to people, you can't pay attention to what people want, I don't care how much marketing you do, you're not gonna grow that business. It starts with the service. You know, people are like, I don't know why Starbucks is, so famous. The coffee's not even that great. It's not even that great, but it's fucking good. It's pretty good. You know, it doesn't have to be that great, but it's pretty good. If it's pretty good, and then they do intense marketing, it's going to work. Working artists, I'm getting my ass kicked at auctions. I keep going. Yeah, and dial that in too. It might not work. Auctions don't work for everybody, guys, okay? They don't work the same for everybody. Dial it in too in different price points. Find out what works. I know an artist here in Tucson that he's a friend of mine, William Hawkins. His auctions, he prices them differently than me. Some of them he'll start at $1. Most of them he doesn't, because he produces work, at a different pace. He does things differently, and the guy's just killing it. The guy kills it. He does really great, and so dial that in too. Jose, what do you think of artists that use fake names or pseudonyms, like Nom de Plumes? Could a clever artist name improve your brand? Yeah, I mean, the nothing clever is going to help your brand. Honestly, what's going to help your brand is that people remember you and remember you in a good way. Everybody has a brand. Think about your grandma or your grandpa. If you have, if you can remember grandma or grandpa. If you think about them and you don't feel like, oh, so cuddly. Oh my God, I remember when, she used to make toast or hot chocolate for me. Oh my God, you start crying. That's a pretty fucking good brand of a grandma. But if you remember her and you're like, she was awful. Oh man, I'm glad that lady died. No, I'm just joking. But I'm sure someone out there feels that. That's a bad brand. It's that simple. There's nothing clever about it. It's just when people remember you, when people hear your name, what do they feel? And that's your brand. It's the relationship. Think about an ex-boyfriend or ex-girlfriend. And what do you feel? How that person was, yeah, they're cool. That's a brand. That's a brand right there. Let's see. And the reason I'm saying is, think about it this way. This is what people are thinking. They're scrolling through images. They're looking. They see your painting. And they're thinking automatically. They're not thinking about, the name is clever. The logo is really cool. They don't care about any of that. Why? Because the reason why a brand is a brand, it's not because of the image. People get stuck with this. It's the image, it's the name, it's the Coca-Cola. No, that's not what makes the brand. The word brand, of course, those of you who know, comes from branding, right? And if that shit isn't hot and it doesn't penetrate, it literally has to burn and penetrate into the skin, has to burn the hair of the cattle, has to burn the hair and penetrate into the skin, right? If it doesn't do that, it's not a very good brand. Anyone could steal that cattle. That's why they did it, right? It's so that their cattle wouldn't get stolen. And that's what makes the brand. It's the penetration. It is. It's the penetration. And so we don't remember Coca-Cola because it's easy to remember, although that might help. We remember Coca-Cola because we've been slapped by it since before we were born. We've been slapped by it. It's like, pop, here, take Coke. Pop, here, take Coke. Pop, here, take Coke. And it's so much so that it's part of the culture. Coca-Cola, it's not even, it's part of the culture. And so it's the same thing. Coffee, Starbucks is slowly becoming part of the culture. Probably is already. Arby says you explained brands so well. I try to. Great stuff, says Trina. Thank you so much. Peppa says you have 20 plus years of doing. I have 20 plus years of doing, in 10 years doing full time. And I'm telling you, it has not gotten easier. What has happened is that it's gotten easier, but you can't tell it has, if that makes any sense. You can't really tell it because it's so gradual. It'll take perspective. It takes perspective to tell. You have to look back and be like, oh my God, no, it has gotten easier. But it doesn't feel, right? The day-to-day feels just the same thing. Man, I have to hustle. I have to get out there. I have to talk to people. I have to show my work. I have to do these lives. I'll do an hour live. I don't care. Why? Because I need to connect with people. And not everybody's watching here. I mean, there's over 40,000 supposedly subscribers or followers on my Instagram. Why is there only 17 people here? Sometimes it goes down to like 5 people, and then it goes up, and then people come and leave. Why? Why do I do it multiple times a day? I don't know when you're off. This is not a TV channel, right? This is not, hey, tomorrow at 5 p.m. Some people like to do it that way. I don't like to do it that way for a reason. For a very specific reason. I think everybody's on the move. We don't do that anymore. You watch Netflix whenever you feel like it. You don't watch Netflix because it's at 6 p.m. tomorrow. You don't do that. You watch Netflix when you feel like it. And so this is what I try to do with this thing. Hey, I don't know what time you're in. I don't know what time you're watching your phone. I don't know when you have a break. So I'm going to show up. And I'm going to keep doing it till we make it work. What is your end goal as an artist? My end goal as an artist is to provide as much value as possible to this world. That's my end goal. Can I provide value? Can I do something? Can I enrich your life with one of my paintings? You're having a shitty day, and then you look at one of my paintings and you're like, oh my God, this dude made me feel better. Can I do that? Can I do that with a lot of people? Not with one or two people. Can I do that with a lot of people? And that's the goal. The goal is, I wonder how many people I can do this with. To the proportion that you can do it, you also get rewarded. If you do it with one person, there's a certain reward. If you do it with, 1 billion people, that's a different reward. Right? It's in proportion to how much value, not necessarily how much value, but to how many people you provide the value. When people out there say, oh, it's all about how much value you give. No, it's not about how much value you give. That's not true. It's to how many people you bring the value to. People always say that out there. I always hear people saying, oh, it's all about how much value you can provide. No, it's not. It's a bunch of bullshit. That's not true. Because everybody provides a lot of value with their work. Everybody provides a lot of love. It's not about how much value. It's about how many people can you provide the value to. PayPal is a great thing. When I was using PayPal, oh, that's a great thing. But if I only know about PayPal, fax machines are a great thing, But if I'm the only one that owns a fax machine, I'm fucked, right? I need someone else to own a fax machine. Phones are great, but if I'm the only one who owns a phone, I'm fucked too. Someone else has to pick up the phone on the other end. And if I can do that with 1, 2, or 1 billion people, or 7 billion people, then we're onto something now. Now I'm providing value. Marina says the growth takes time. It sure does, and it feels arduous. It feels difficult, and that's why you have to look at it as a long-term game. You're totally correct. I started painting in April 2019. Started having sales once a week, and I have daily and multiple sales. Very good. Thanks to you, I don't have to find another job. Hell yeah, I love that. I'm gonna screen grab that. Boom. Sorry about that. I had to screen grab that. Right on, Jose. I like your perspective on lives. Thank you so much, creative. Thanks for doing it. Thank you for time and help. Good cooks and chefs provide 3 times a day. Food value, absolutely. And the restaurant can only be valuable to the extent of how many people it serves, right? It's not just how good the food is, but how many people can it serve. And so a lot of people out there, they might talk, smack about McDonald's. They're like, oh, McDonald's, there's no value there. Well, there might be value because how many people can it serve, right? So it's not one thing or another, right? It's not one thing or another. It really comes down to the audience. Are you serving a big enough audience? And what most people try to do is they try to create something really great that everybody's going to rant and rave about. And that's a very noble thing, but that's very difficult to do because not everybody's going to create the new baddest thing. You can create something good and start taking it to different people. So I'll leave you guys with that. My phone is dying, man. I have to plug it in. The name is Jose Trujillo. I'm an artist. If you felt that I gave some value today, I'm going to ask you something. Share this with someone else. I don't know. I'm going to try to post it here on Instagram. Tag a friend. Tag a friend. If you feel like I brought some value, that's how I'm trying to reach people. I'm trying to give value and reach more people. So I'll leave you with that, my friends. Take care. If you guys have any more questions, you can always DM me. I'm here. I might not answer it right away. I might take a couple of hours, a couple of days. Sometimes I take a couple of months to take care of something. Sorry about that, Marina. But I get it done eventually. All right. Take care. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Trina. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Stay well and sophisticated.